Gangneung, South Korea. Thomas Ulsrud lifts weights, hammers through squats and hangs upside down from metal bars, molding his abdominal muscles with a sadistic series of crunches. His torso has more ridges than a fjord. I guess I was blessed a little from nature's side, Ulsrud said, but I do like to work out. None of this would be all that unusual except that Ulsrud is a 46-year-old curler. Obliterating the sport's tired reputation as ground zero for paunchy, beer-swilling weekend warriors, curlers like Ulsrud, who is back at the Olympics for the third time with Norway, are representative of a growing emphasis on fitness for men and women alike. They bench press, bang out bicep curls and lay off the sauce. Some, like Ulsrud and Mark Kennedy, a Canadian Olympian, have gone so far as to showcase their physiques in racy promotional calendars for the sport. It kind of goes to show you just how far curling has come, said Kennedy, 36, who posed shirtless while doing yoga with two curling stones for the cover of the 2018 Men of Curling calendar. Brian McWilliams, the head trainer for USA Curling, said that when he joined the organization in 2006, he discovered that he was responsible for conditioning players who were still smoking cigarettes during fifth end breaks, which is the equivalent of halftime. I was like, what did I just get myself into? McWilliams said. But curling, the sport that involves using brooms to direct a heavy granite rock down a sheet of ice, has joined the CrossFit age. Phil Drobnik, the coach of the American men, said he suspected that this was the first Olympics in which every team in the field had bought into a fitness program. In the run-up to the games in the past, if you were a good shot maker, you could be pretty good and still be successful, said Aileen Geving, who plays for the United States women's team. But the game has gotten so precise, the ice is better, and the players have gotten better. Any bit of edge is going to make a difference. So if fitness is that difference, you're going to work for it? Joanne Courtney, 28, who is competing for Canada and has a reputation as one of the strongest sweepers in the world, has worked with a trainer in Edmonton to add muscle mass to her upper body. The more weight she has over the broom, she said, the more downward pressure she can apply to the ice. She also does interval training on treadmills and rowing machines to hone her anaerobic fitness and her explosiveness. She does the bulk of her training in the summer. That's where I try to build as much muscle as I possibly can, she said. Sweeping is important because it heats the ice while creating micro scratches on the surface, and this helps players control for distance and trajectory as the rock travels down the sheet. As for Ulsrud, he said he began to focus on weight training in his mid-30s as a way of sustaining his career. He guided the Norwegians to the silver medal at the 2010 Winter Olympics and to a World Championship in 2014. Ulsrud now makes it a point, he said, to outperform his younger teammates in their various conditioning tests. The sport clearly has changed. It used to be older people, drinking beer all night, Ulsrud said. And those were the best players. You'd meet them at the bar. About that calendar, it features elite curlers in various states of undress, including Ulsrud, who posed in his underwear with his teammates for the month of December. The photo shoot was on the second floor of a busy restaurant in Oslo. The lunchtime crowd was riveted. A lot of people were like, hey, if we have a dinner party, can you guys come over and serve? Ulsrud said. The calendar is the work of George Carries, the owner and publisher of the Curling News, an industry bible based in Toronto. Carries said he had nearly sold out of the 10,000 copies he had printed, with the net proceeds going to various charities. This is the second edition. Bowing to public demand after he published several calendars featuring female curlers, Carries came out with the first Men of Curling calendar in 2014. LOLA'S Rudd was in that one, too. It was pretty explosive, said Carries, a former Olympic curler for Canada. Carries lets the curlers follow through on their own artistic visions. For the latest calendar, LOLA'S Rudd and his three teammates chose a holiday dinner tableau, with Havard Vad Peterson posing like a roasted pig with an apple in his mouth. He drew the short straw, LOLA'S Rudd said. The target audience is no secret. You get a lot of the older ladies up in Alberta or Saskatchewan who are just going to buy those things up, said John Landsteiner, a member of the United States men's team. Neither Landsteiner nor any of his American teammates are featured in the calendar. We're not exactly the beefcakes, said John Schuster, a four-time Olympian and the team's leader, but they were no less focused on making gains, or losses, as the case may be, in the weight room ahead of the games. After Schuster labored to a last-place finish alongside his teammates at the 2014 Winter Olympics, he made big changes. He worked on his conditioning, refined his diet and dropped about 35 pounds. As a result, he said, he has more energy, no longer feels jet lag after long flights and can power through tournaments. Known as the skip, Schuster orchestrates the game plan and throws the most important shots, leaving most of the sweeping duties to his teammates. But at the American mixed doubles trials in December, Schuster had to sweep and sweep a lot, grinding through 10 matches over 5 days with his partner, Corey Christensen. I couldn't have done that 4 years ago, Schuster said. When Carries won a silver medal with the Canadian men's team at the 1998 Winter Olympics, curling was making its debut at the Olympics. Carries, who played alongside an electrician, a plumber, and a golf pro, said he was the only member of his team who worked out. I knew there would be comparisons between curlers and real athletes from these other Olympic sports, Carries said in a telephone interview. So I wanted to not only be able to perform to the best of my ability and help my team out, but I also wanted to not look terrible while I was doing it. In the 20 years since, curling has benefited from a slow but steady influx of funding from sponsors and national federations and from greater exposure, too. Those who hope to reach the highest levels face more competition than ever. Many still have day jobs, but they also have high-performance coaches and regimented training schedules. For the curlers vying for medals here in Gangneung, the Olympics are a marathon that demand endurance. Pool play for the men's and women's events stretches over 8 days, with each team playing 9 matches and then tiebreakers, semifinals, and medal rounds to follow. You need to be as fit as possible so that you can approach that very last stone to win the championship the same way that you did several days earlier, with the first stone of the competition, Carries said. And if you're physically dragging, everything drags. All the strategic aspects, all the actual execution of throwing the stone. Now, more than ever, a lot of that hard work happens in advance, at gyms far from the ice. You've got to take care of the body, LOLA'S Rudd said, like all the sports.